person comes in a bit later, they may not grasp it. So enjoy the food, no pressure.
A different kind of menu here.
So I'll start this way by thanking everyone for coming. I hope you continue to come and enjoy and learn and grow from the presentations. That's number one. Number two, I want to thank our sponsor from today, our anonymous sponsor, the words of the Torah and the elevation that you, hopefully everybody walks out with, should be an elevation for all those people whose souls are resting in heaven from that person's family, and they should have an elevation from the mitzvahs that we're doing here and getting closer to Hashem.
Homage to Joe Lieberman.
What's that?
Homage to Joe Lieberman. Senator Joe Lieberman, who just passed away.
Oh, when? I didn't see that.
Yesterday.
Yesterday,
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
at 82.
Oh,
He fell.
maybe Chuck Schumer followed in his footsteps? You know what I mean.
I sure do, but I've just
You should run,
ate.
maybe.
I don't want to regurgitate.
You should sprint.
Yeah.
Okay, this is part of what's called a discovery seminar, and some people have seen, one person I know has seen a part of it, but this is much more involved than what we've ever done before. And I want to start with, we have a technology today, so I don't have to swipe, I just go like this. This is an architect's plan, and what is it showing? It's showing, making a very, very deep statement. It says God looked into the Torah and created the world. This is part of the Zohar. The Zohar is a very mystical, deep understanding of Judaism. After you've mastered the Torah, and after you've mastered all the scriptures, and after you've mastered all the Talmud, and you've mastered all of the different learning and teaching of Jewish philosophy, maybe you can start looking at portions of the Zohar. It's very mystical, very, very deep. What is this saying? It's saying God looked in the Torah and he created the world. He looked at what the Torah said, and he says, okay, based on what it says here, I have to have a sun, a moon, the stars, I have to have an earth, I have to have trees and people and plants and animals and birds. I have to create a place called Egypt, a place called Canaan. I have to have a person named Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and I have to have a man named Moses and Pharaoh, because this is what it says in the Torah, and therefore I have to create everything in order to be able to fulfill the words that are there. So now imagine for a moment, because the Zohar deals with a very deep subject. Imagine if there are hidden secrets in the Torah that we don't know about. But as we start seeing these things happening, we start looking at the Torah, we say, look at that. It's there. It was always there. So if there are secrets there talking about what you might call modern day events, and it's always been there. Congratulations, you're on TV. So we're finding modern day events, and they were already encoded in the Torah. That means absolutely everything is there. Is it possible?
It's good the way it is. His head's cut off.
Is it?
This is the best angle you're gonna get. I've been trying for the last 10 minutes. You want to try your?
Good, we got to see your handsome face.
Is it? It's more important to get the screen than to get me.
There you go.
Yeah, as long as you have my voice.
It cuts off the screen, so I'm getting both. It's okay. Thanks.
It wasn't that way, it was
Okay. So he knows a little bit about videos and things of that sort. So if there are going to be things there that are hidden, and there are secrets hidden within the Torah, and we begin to find it, we say, look at that. These things, the Torah, the words of the Torah, are there to predict the future. So let's see, let's go through today, and perhaps there are codes, there are words in the Torah that actually predicted the future. And what we discussed the last time, we discussed the youngest age of the Torah, the actual words that we have here. The Torah can't be less than 2,400 years old, because it was translated into Greek at the year 256 BCE. It's the year 2024 now. add the numbers together. It was called the ancient document at that time. So the Torah that we have, the actual letters, the words, the sentences, the writing, is at least 2,400 years old. And if we see things that are in there that are predicting the future, how does something like that happen? I'm going to be showing you a whole series of codes and patterns. And you are going to ask many questions. I know some of you here are going to ask a lot of questions. Why does it look like this? Why does it say backwards? Why is it a triangle? Why does it go this way? Does it go that way? There are a lot of questions you can ask. There's only one question you need to ask yourself. That is this a random occurrence? What you're going to see, is it just an accident, meaningless, just totally coincidental? Or was it done by design? And if these words are referring to modern day events, 2,400 years ago, we say it's 3,300 years ago, and the Zohar is saying it's thousands or millions of years ago. How'd that happen? Who would have done that? Is it an accident, or is it done by design? That's what we're going to look at. Again, a lot of questions. All those kinds of questions are questions for the author. I'm not the author. Gotta ask him. Okay. So, 100 years ago, there was a man named Ivan Panin. He was a mathematics professor at the very prestigious organization called Harvard University. And he wanted, I'm sorry, he wanted to know if there were patterns in the Bible. So he's a non-Jew, and he's a mathematician. So he turned to the New Testament. For those of you who know, there are over 200 authorized versions of the New Testament. So any patterns, any codes that he found in the New Testament, one version, you have the King James Version, you have the American version, you have the hotel drawer version, you have all of those, the Gideon Bible, you have all of them. So what he found in one wouldn't necessarily hold true to the other. So what he did was he turned to our Bible, what they call the Old Testament. Again, being a non-Jew, he has the New Testament, we're the Old Testament. And he wanted to know if there were patterns in the Bible. So he opened up initially to the very first verse of the Bible. Many of you recognize it. Bereshit, bara Elokim et hashamayim et haaretz. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
He was standing on his head though when he did it.
What's the matter?
It's upside down.
What do you mean?
That's the screen.
Turn the screen upside down.
That's right, Joe.
That's funny.
It's a problem. It's a problem. See, most of my audiences don't speak Hebrew. So
That was random.
I could say anything I wanted to get away with it. They didn't understand. Okay.
Or read it. At least
Okay,
we
yeah,
can read
okay,
it.
here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. So, the very first thing he noticed, and if you look at it, there are 7 words. 7, we know, is the most Kabbalistically significant number in all of Judaism. Some people say 613, some people say 10, but we know that number 7 is the most mystical. The world was created in 7 days. When a person who's in mourning sits for 7 days, the opposite of a person gets married, they have Sheva Barachot, they celebrate for 7 days, the bride walks around the groom 7 times. There are many different ceremonies and significance to the number 7. So I noticed 7 words. Very good. If you count the number of letters, you'll see there are 28 letters, multiple of the number 7. He noted that there are 3 nouns: God, the heavens, and the earth. Now we know, because we discussed this once before, that every letter in the Hebrew alphabet has a numerical value. Right? We know Aleph, Beis, Gimel, 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. So, he, being a non-Jew, he found out what are the numerical values. He added up the numerical value of Elokim, Hashamayim, Haaretz, and the number comes out to be 777. Obviously, multiple of the number 7. He says if it works with the nouns, let me try the verb. The verb is create, bara. Base is 2, base is 201, 203, which is 29 times the number 7. He looked at the first and the last letter of the first and the last word. Once again, base is 2, is 400, 402, and 5, 407, and 90, 497. Once again, 497, 71 times the number 7. He looked at the first and last letter of every word, 1,393, 199 times the number 7. Ivan Panin found over 50 patterns of the number 7 in the very first verse of the Bible. He went over to his colleagues, Harvard University, and he challenged them to come up with any coherent sentence of 7 words. 3 nouns, 1 verb, like Jack and Jill went up the hill. 3 nouns, 1 verb. Assign a numerical value and come up with a pattern. Nobody even came close.
What year was this in?
1902, 1904, something like that. He calculated the odds of this being an accident is 1 in 33 trillion. As a matter of fact, if you look throughout the 5 books of Moses, you will find that every major character is mentioned a multiple of 7. Who is the most important character in the Bible? Moses. The Mem, Shin, Hey is there 357 times. 51 times 7. Who is the most important being in the Torah?
Abraham.
God.
Oh, God.
God. The name of God is there 1,820 times. 1,820 is 7 times 10 times the numerical value of God's name, 26, 1,820. If you look throughout, you'll find Korach and Pharaoh and Abraham and Jacob and Joseph. Every major character is listed a multiple of number 7. Is that an accident? Do you think that our rabbis, if we did this over a series of time, and every single person who edited this thing for 1,400 years before the year 256, they said, let me put this a number of 7, and a number 7, and number 7? Who thought about that? But when you look at it, this number 7 is throughout the entire 5 books of Moses. Is it important? All it shows is that there are definitely patterns in the book of Torah. Yes?
But is there any significance to it?
That 7 is a very Kabbalistic number.
No, but-
Yes. Yes,
but
that's the significance.
No, but to me, it's not significant. It's not as if you're predicting something or something about events.
We've only
That's
just
part two.
begun.
Oh, okay. All right.
We just started. Okay. What we're establishing, and what Ivan Panin established, is that there are patterns. There is definitely something going
No, I
on
see.
here,
Yeah, I
which
see.
is more than just a statistical accident. Okay. There are many secrets of the Torah. How do we find them? Sometimes you just read through the words and you come up and say, wow, this is very deep. I didn't understand it. Believe in God, understand God. That's very deep. But there are also many hidden secrets. How do we know? There was a book written by a great Kabbalist in the year 1547. His name was the Ramak, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero. It's called Pardes Rimonim. For those of you who have nothing to do on a night where you can't sleep, this is very deep stuff. He says, the secrets of the Holy Torah can be revealed through knowledge of combinations of numerology, gematria, as we said, counting of numbers, switching letters, first and last letters, shapes of letters, first and verses, skipping of letters, which we can look at, and letter combinations. These matters are so powerful and hidden, etc., etc. Its measure is longer than the world. What he's saying is, when you start looking at what is written in the Torah, there are so many different ways and different levels to look at it that when you do these various combinations, like taking the first initials of several words like IBM, USA, UNICEF, all these different things, when you start looking at those patterns, you see there are secrets that come out that, again, don't appear to be accident. The skipping of letters, Delug Otiot. We're going to take a look at that in a moment. You take the first letter, the 9th letter, the 17th letter, the 27th letter. You take all these letters in a row where they're skipping a certain space in between them, and they spell out words. And when you look at these words, they predicted the future. How could that be? Now he's telling you, independent of any computer type of analysis of the Torah, that the letters of the Torah contain an infinite amount of secrets. Its measure is longer than the world. Let's see. Okay. So as I've told you several times, I've been doing this for a number of years. sometimes, most of the times, what we used to do in the early days is I would travel to Chicago or to Santa Fe or to San Diego or any place, and we would do a Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday. We'd do a whole Shabbaton, and it would be magnificent. A whole series of classes, all based on discovery. Sunday afternoon, after we're finished, and everybody says, wow, that was great, that's great, I wasted my life, I should have turned around, I didn't know this. So we go out for lunch, the host take us out, and then they drive me to the airport. So, some of the people that I visit, they ordered egg salads and salad for lunch, sort of like getting a wrap. I had an omelet and vanilla egg cream soda. Now, I wrote this. I wrote this. It took me several hours to write this.
You should use AI.
Depends on what it is I'm trying to accomplish. Okay. So, I want to show you. Please come in. I want to show you what is hidden within this letter that I wrote. Max Anteby, I'm not God, although some of you think that way. I'm not. Okay. I start with this letter S. I'm going to skip 7 letters, and I come up with the letter P. Again, skip 7 more letters, and I, 7 more in E, 7 more in S, and it spells the word?
Spies.
Spies. Now, how does a spy send a message usually?
Encrypted.
They use codes, right?
Code,
Spies
right.
use codes. So now, if I take this letter U, and I count backwards, 9 letters, and I count backwards again, I get the letter E. This is what mathematicians, statisticians call an ELS, delugotio. Just what the Rabbi Moshe Carovero said, delugotio. Equidistant sequence between the first and the second, third and fourth. It's always the same. It could be 1 letter, it could be 1,000 letters. As long as it's the same within a word, it's called an ELS. They work frontwards and they work backwards. So now, if I take this letter C and I count forward 8 letters, I get an O, 8 letters more a D, 8 letters more an E, and 8 more an S, and it spells within this sentence,
Codes.
spies use codes.
Codes. Huh.
So we have a spy. The spy, God, wrote this Torah, and he used codes, and he put them into the Torah. Are they really there? Are they real? Do they predict the future? Let's take a look. So we've discussed the Gaon Mevilna, the Vilna Gaon many times. He's probably the greatest rabbi we've had in the last 200 years. Mathematical genius. He's written dozens of books on math, in addition to all the books that he's written about Judaism. This is what he says. The rule is, all that was, is, and will be till the end of time, was, is, will be, is included in the Torah from the very first verse of Bereshit until the very last verse, Le'nei Kol Yisrael. Not merely in a general sense, but including the details of every species, every person individually, most minute details of everything that happened to him from the day of his birth until the day of his death. That means you and everybody you know is alluded to somewhere in the Bible. Your name, your spouse, your children, your teacher, your boss, Norman. When you got married, when you graduated from school, the job that you have, everything about you is in the Torah.
Do we
The
get
most.
royalties?
What's that?
Do we get royalties?
If you fulfill your role here in this world, yes, you get your reward in the next world.
I mean, for using my name in the Torah, and my life story.
Try and find it. If you find it, and you find Nirit, and you find the Reuven, and you find all the others, yeah, absolutely. Including, he's my cousin. That means, what the Vilna Gaon is saying is that everything about everybody is included in the Torah.
In non-Jews also?
Why not?
Because they don't have Hebrew names that could be.
It's
That's
just a
what
name.
I'm saying.
So look for John and
Just a name.
Teresa
And the Hebrew
and
letters.
all those different
Look for
things.
Jesus.
Actually, he had Hebrew.
Scratch that off the yeah. Okay. True story. The students of the Vilna Gaon went over to him and they challenged him. They said, "Great rabbi, if everyone is there, Certainly one of the greatest rabbis of the modern era is going to be in there, the great Rambam. And we've discussed Rambam many times, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. Certainly if everyone is there, he's going to be there. Where is the great Rambam? You have to know the Vilna Gaon. He was genius. Genius. There are 79,976 words in the Torah. I'm not a genius, I memorized it. There are over 300,000 letters in the Torah. The story is, without a moment's hesitation, he opened up here to Exodus chapter 19, chapter 11, verse 9. Over here, the Bible is talking about the Jewish people going out of the land of Egypt, and God had already brought 9 plagues on the Egyptian people. He tells Moses, go and speak to Pharaoh and warn him about the 10th plague, about the killing of the firstborn. However, Pharaoh is not going to listen to you. Why? In order that I may increase my wonders in the land of Egypt. According to the Vilna Gaon, this is where you'll find the great Rambam. Leman, in order to ribot, increase, mofetai, my wonders, be'eretz, Mitzrayim, the land of Egypt. Well, he's not going to listen to you. If you look at the first 4 letters of those first words, Resh, Mem, Beis. Rem spells the word Rambam. This was 225 years ago. With our high-speed computers, we search all 79,976 words, and this is the only place you'll find it. He knew it like this. Frontwards or backwards, because ELSs work frontwards and backwards. It's the only place you'll find it. This is speaking about the Jewish people going out of the land of Egypt. What holiday do we commemorate this? Passover. Anybody know the Hebrew date of the holiday of Passover?
The 14th, I mean the 15th of...
Very good, Gary. Not the 14th, the 15th. Erev Pesach, which is the busiest day for every Jewish woman, cleaning the house and preparing, right? So in the year 1135, Rambam's mother was just a little bit busier than all other women, because that is the day when she gave birth to Rambam in the year 1135. Right here, in the only place where you find the name Rambam, that's his birthday. Isn't that nice? His birthday is right next to his name. Who did that?
God.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not convinced. Rambam wrote several books. What's his most famous book?
Mishnah Torah.
The Mishnah Torah. What's the Mishnah Torah about?
Halachot.
In English?
Laws, Jewish laws.
Jewish laws. The commandments, a positive and negative commandment. How many positive and negative commandments are there?
613.
613. Right. So the name of his book is the Mishnah Torah. So now let's look for an ELS of Mishnah Torah. We start with this letter Mem, because Moshe is his first name. We skip, actually it should say 49, I always objected. The gap is 49 letters, which is 7 times 7. The 50th letter is a shin, 50th letter nun, 50th letter is a hey, and it spells the first name of a great work by Rambam going right through his name, Mishnah. So now if I skip another 49 letters, what letter should I find? The letter Tet for the word Taf for the word Torah. I skip, and unfortunately this works, but it doesn't work here. Usually I would point, I don't know why it doesn't work here, it works here. If I skip another 49 letters, 50th letter happens to be the letter Lamed. Should be a Taf, right? So that means it doesn't work, right? Okay. So what I can do is I skip down to the bottom of that slide, and there, once again, I find the word Tav, Vav, Resh, Hey, and it spells the word Torah.
At the 49th interval?
In 40, yeah, same interval. What's the obvious question?
Why didn't you put it first?
Why did he put it right up on top? I mean, you're God. You're writing this anyway. You're making all this up. Just write Mishnah Torah, 49 letters in a row. Why couldn't you do that, God?
Because maybe he was waiting for a certain period of time that it would have to be more advanced or more, I don't know. I guess if you could find it first, you could find it second.
Yeah, if you've earned it, you've earned it.
Maybe it has something to do with what's running through it.
Oh, what's running through? Well, again, it's talking about the holiday of Passover, and actually it's talking here about you taking the blood, putting it on the lintels, to the angel of death will pass over. We asked ourselves the question, and I actually did this. I did this 27 years ago. I sat down because I had a question, and I counted the number of letters from the mem to the letter taf. The gap is exactly 613 letters.
Wow.
The topic of the book, Mishnah Torah. Who figured that out? Not us. We didn't pick the name. We didn't pick the number of mitzvahs. But somehow, when the author decided that there's going to be 613 commandments, and Rambam was going to be his emissary to write the positive and negative commands in a book called Mishnah Torah, it had already been created that way.
I'm sorry, I.
When did Rambam
Why-
write it?
why did
In the
he put it-
year, like 1170.
Why didn't he put it on top? Why did you have to?
Why? This is a question for the author only. You have to ask him why he didn't do it, but he gave us a sign. There's 613 letters in between.
Oh, okay, I didn't get that.
Okay.
Turn your phone off.
Okay, the holiday of Hanukkah, we passed this just a couple of months ago. Okay, here it is, here's the word. And again, ELSs work frontwards and backwards. Here's the word, Ha-Chanukah, the holiday of Hanukkah. And as most of you know, the Hashmonaim is the main family. Now look, how many letters are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. To have these words only 8 letters apart, looking through in the book of Exodus, that's very close. Who was the great hero of Hanukkah? What was his name?
Judah.
Yeah, what's his second
Maccabee.
name? Yeah, the
Maccabee.
Maccabees. Yeah. There's Maccabee going right through the word Hanukkah. And his first name, as you said, Yehuda. Who did we fight against in the holiday of Hanukkah?
Helen.
The Hellenes, the Greeks.
The Greeks. And what's the name for Greece?
Yevani.
Yavan, yeah. Oh, look at that. Look where that is. Goes right through the word Hashmonai. And how many days is the holiday of Hanukkah? 8 days. Now, something I didn't point out to you.
On your mind.
When I look for ELSs, I want to find the word, well, Yehuda, obviously, I can find it many, many times. I want to find the word Maccabee. I don't tell the computer to look right there next to the word Hanukkah. This is the way the experiment works, very briefly. Let's say I'm looking for the word Maccabee. So, I tell the computer, start from the word Bereshis and look for the letter Mem. Finds the letter Mem. Bara Elokim. Oh, very good, there's a Mem. Now, I want to find the letter Chaf. So, Bereshit Bara Elokim, I found the Mem. Now, how many more letters do I have to go to find the letter Chaf? I have no idea what that number is. Let's say I find it 20 letters later. Okay, so now I have the Chaf. Now, 20 letters later, I have to find the letter Base. If I don't find it, I start again from the letter Mem. And I find the next letter Chaf. And then I do the same thing for the letter Base, and the same thing for the letter Yud. And if I don't find it, I just keep on going back to the first Mem. And if I never find it going through the entire book of Bereshis, I have to go back and do it again from the second letter Mem. So I don't tell the computer where to look, I just tell it what I'm looking for. All the words related to the holiday of Hanukkah. And they all come out in the same spot. Not only that, I may find the word Maccabee 30 times. The smallest jump, as you can see, it's only 2 letters. The smallest jump anywhere in the book of Bereshit is right there. It's right
Yeah,
there.
the smallest jump with Yehuda is 1 letter.
That's 1 letter. Yeah, but I'm saying I can't find it smaller than 1 letter,
Right.
but I can find it. I can find Maccabee with 1 letter. I can find here Hashmonai, which is a very long word. I found it a jump of 525. Will I find it a jump of 400? No. 524? No. Nowhere will I. These are the minimum jumps of all related words encoded in right next to each other. What's the chances are that that's an accident?
Oh, that's the only place.
These are the minimums. No, I'll find them many times, but I only want the minimum jump because the more words you find with related meanings at the smallest jump anywhere and they're all together, the less likely it is it's an accident. So you might say, well, how do I know where you found all this stuff? If I wanted to look at the entire book, this is Exodus, I said Bereshit, the book of Exodus, I would need 7 screens like this. 7 screens, and this is in 1/20th. That means in 1/140th of the entire book, all these related words are there.
Oh, you gotta go now.
Who did that? Who did that? Let's take another example. Anybody know the Hebrew word for diabetes?
Diabetes.
What's that?
Diabetes.
Hold on to that thought. Hold on to that thought just a minute. The word is sakeret. Sakeret is the Hebrew word that means diabetes.
Oh, sugar. actually.
Sugar, right? Sugar, right? Everything comes from us, Vicky. Everything is.
Especially diabetes.
Let's have another way for it. Okay, and it's caused by malfunctioning of what organ in the body?
Kidney?
Who?
Kidney?
No.
Never?
The pancreas. What's a Hebrew word for pancreas?
Pancreas.
No, it's love. Love. That's a Hebrew word. And what does every diabetic patient use to treat his diabetes?
Insulin.
Insulin.
Insulin. And what's the Hebrew word for insulin?
Insulin.
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 Insulin. Right.
Very
Right
good.
near the word diabetes is the only place you will find the word insulin coded as an ELS right there. Insulin. It's the only place that you'll find it. And it's right near the word sakeret. Go on. Some of you might remember this. I think everybody here was alive at this time. I do have audiences that have no idea who we're talking about, the Gulf War. This is the one with Saddam Hussein and the Scud missiles and things like that.
Oh, right.
Course,
Yeah,
course.
that's the one, not the current Gulf War.
When he hid in the,
Yeah, just like they're doing today.
Yeah.
Yes. So, we were being bombarded by Russian missiles. Yes, the land of Israel. What were they called?
Scud missiles.
Yeah. So the Hebrew word for missile is til. And they were made by
Russia.
the Russians. And the Hebrew word for them in Hebrew of scuds is plural
Scudim.
Skudim, very good. Skudim, yes. Again, all right next to each other. Here's what I showed you before. Again, here's the Scuds, the missiles, the Russians. They were dropped on the land of Israel by who?
Iraq.
And who was the leader at the time?
Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, there's Saddam, and there's Hussein. Yes. Some of you might remember when it was. Anybody remember when it was?
Oh,
92?
gosh, it was a
I think 92. Yes, January 17th, 1992. I remember that because my wife just broke her leg. I was just taking her home from the hospital, put her in the car. I put on the radio, and there were the bombs falling on the land of Israel. The Hebrew date at the time was Gimal Shavat. Now, as we continue to go through these codes, people are going to say, well, wait a second. If everything is there, can I predict the future? If everything is there, let me start saying what's going to happen with Gaza, what's going to happen with Sinwar, what's going to happen with Netanyahu, what's going to happen with all these things. Let me project what the future is. The answer is, until an event has passed, you don't know what to look for. So, for example, this is the example I always
well,
use.
that's useful.
A single guy is walking around, he says, please, I'm 29 years old, when am I going to get married? Who am I going to marry? So he says, let me plug in Sarah and Leah and Rebecca and we plug in all these names and let's see whose name comes out right next to mine. And all of a sudden, Chaim puts it in, and
So that's how you met your wife?
no. This is way after. So he puts in his name. His name's Chaim, and going right through his name with the Yud is the word Yaakov. He goes, oh my God.
Something's not right here.
Is that a fake?
something. Yaakov? Obvious, and this guy doesn't even know a Yaakov. What happened? He asked the wrong question. You have no idea what Yaakov is going to be related to you. It could be the name of your first son, your
Or maybe
second
Yaakov
son.
will introduce him to his wife.
It could be.
Oh, it's a
Could be.
connection.
Could his
Yeah,
boss,
yeah.
something. As we said, everything, every detail about you is there. So until an event has passed, you don't know what to look for. When Hanukkah was there, we knew what to look for. The Yehuda, Maccabee, the Greeks, 8 days, the family. We knew all that. Yes.
But don't we know, like, about the Gaza war? Can't we put in Gaza, Sinwar, Netanyahu?
And then what? And then what do we
Multiple
ask?
choice on some of the choice. Let's say
And then
general
maybe
has
they'll
some
be-
choices.
What are you
To
gonna
go
ask?
here or
Trying
to
to
go
find
there.
references
Maybe there'll
on
be a year
those
or-
hits.
So the reason I bring it up now, the land of Israel is being bombarded by Scud missiles, and the government went over to the rabbis who do these codes, and they said, "Listen, the country is being paralyzed because this was not only around Gaza and Ashdod. This was coming from Iraq." And the potential was to bomb anywhere in Israel. So they said, we need to know when the attack from Saddam Hussein is going to come. So what they did, they had all these codes. This is what they did. And they plugged in Jewish calendar 354 dates of the Jewish year. And only 2 of them came out close. One of them was in August, and the other one was January 17th. And they were prepared on Gimal Shavat.
No way. They use this?
They used this to say, we need to be prepared for this day that the Scud missiles are going to fall. And that's what happened. They used these codes to predict the future. You can do that. Yes.
And what did they do with the information? No, that's the question I'm about to ask. Was it kept secret?
Oh yeah, I don't think they told Saddam we're expecting it. I don't think so.
No, I meant from.
That's why it's called intelligence.
So it was between just a
Yes.
few.
Yes.
Well,
With-
okay.
So
yes.
what happened on that day? On
The Scud missiles began to fall on the land of Israel from Saddam
And so
Hussein.
there was extra security on
Yes,
that day?
absolutely. And everybody knew they had to take cover.
Schwarzkopf, it goes through.
Okay, so people say, where do you find this stuff? So some of you might be who are familiar with the stories of the Bible. There was a war of the 5 kings against the 4 kings. It's a great war at the time of Abraham. And the war was fought in the valley of Siddim, which is in Israel. And the other kings came from a place called Shinar, which is in Iraq. So right there, in the only place where we find a world war between Iraq and Israel, is where you find all of these codes. Take another look. Yeah. Okay, we'll go through this very quickly. Yes,
All of that.
we'll go through it
Max,
quickly.
did I remember from one of these presentations? I think Schwarzkopf was also read.
We didn't do that little side stuff. Yes, the great men. Yeah, the generals of the great men. Yes, that's what it was. Okay, this is the city of
Berlin.
the Nazi Party. Yes, and there was a very evil man called Hitler who ruled in the city of Berlin. Again, look how close all this information is. 31 letters, 32 letters, 4 letters. There's the city of Berlin, the Nazi Party, Amalek. We discussed the last time that Germany was
Yeah.
Amalek. Okay?
And this is all
And
in
it's
the
right-
Book of Shmos?
This, trying to remember.
It's not Kisisa or it's not the Holocaust Parshas.
No,
I'm missing it.
no.
Oh, it's not is it the Tochacha?
I'm trying to read it's very hard. These are the actual texts. Hakata Ba'a El Esav.
That's
So
what's
let's
in
talk about
Bereshit.
Esav. Yes. Okay. See the word Amalek?
Yeah.
Germany. What is this symbol of the Nazis? What
The
was this symbol?
swastika.
How do you say swastika in German? In Hebrew? Most people don't know.
Swastika.
Insulin. No. It's called. It's called Slav Keres,
Yes, I went.
going right through the word
Okay,
Amalek.
have a good time doing
Is that proof enough that Germany is
Okay.
Amalek? That their symbol is symbolized Amalek? That's
Oh,
who
I
they
know,
are.
I saw that.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Serious?
there was another evil man, who gathered them together. Tekabetz means concentrated them someplace, in a concentration camp which was called Auschwitz. What was his name? Who came up with the final solution? Sorry, Gary?
No, but it's actually Goering and.
Right, but the final solution, was the product of a man named,
Heinrich Himmler.
Eichmann.
Oh, it's-
I said Eichmann.
going right through the word Auschwitz.
This is scary.
Yeah. Now, Adolf Eichmann had a secret weapon. What was his weapon?
Yes.
Yeah, a gas. What was the name of that gas?
Zyklon B.
Zyklon B.
Zyklon B.
Zyklon B. Right near the name, Adolf Eichmann. Okay. For those of you who read the Hebrew, I efshar leha'amin. Impossible to believe. The bombing of the Twin Towers. Impossible to believe. A headline on the Jewish papers. Impossible. And there it lists all the different words that could apply to the bombing of the World Trade Center. Bin Laden, it says 10,000, 25,000 killed. We'll talk about that. We don't have it. I'm sorry, this little video doesn't work on the screen. This is a 5-second video of the plane crashing into. But let's take a look what it says. These are the Twin Towers. Okay, the Hebrew word for towers that are twin, migdalet hateomim, the towers that are twins. Some of you might remember it was just 1 week before Rosh Hashanah on the 23rd of Elul. Many people were not at work that day. The Jewish people were not at work that day because we have a special prayer that we say the week before, which is selichas, selihot. And they didn't come into work. They were spared.
And it was a primary.
Yeah.
It's Twin Towers,
Okay.
one apart.
Some people.
That's why they blame the Jews.
Some people say it was done by these people. Okay, I think we know who actually did it. And
If it's just one apart,
They-
that's the actual word.
yeah,
So this is. in
no,
our
this is the
Bible?
word Yishmael because this word Gimal Elul. There's 14,000 letters between this line and this line.
Right, but all the other ones?
One letter, yeah. Migdalet Hateomim, Tavach, Ishmael. These are the actual script.
Ishmael.
Excuse me? So we'll talk about it in a second. Okay, how many people died in the World Trade Center?
2,000.
So how much?
2,700.
27.
That was a total. There was a total of 2,000.
739, I think.
How,
2787
No,
or something like that.
2739, I think.
if you read the newspapers, for example, today, we know how many hostages there are, we know how many soldiers died, to the number, we know how many people are killed every single day to the number. What's a number that every newspaper in America said died in the World Trade Center?
I don't remember.
They have a
I
total
remember
for the
3,000.
three events, but I don't know about that one particular.
One particular
That I
event.
don't know.
About 3,000.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right? The newspaper said about 3,000. Nobody really knew.
Yeah, because there were some people who were in, some people who fell from jumping, like it was hard to.
And some people who used the opportunity to say, I no longer have to go back home, I can do what I want.
There were people.
Oh
And-
yeah,
and
they
some-
found them in England, they found them, yes, with their girlfriends, yes.
Wow.
Yes. So about 3,000 people died in the World Trade. That's what almost every newspaper. So let's turn to the Bible, and let's see if this is predicted by the codes of the Bible. What does the Bible say how many people died exactly? Not about 3,000. So here, it's speaking about, and you can see, this is speaking about the golden calf. And when Moses came down from the Mount Sinai, he saw them celebrating around the golden calf. He got very angry. What did he do? He broke the tablets. He went over to the tribe of Levi, and he said, put a sword on your hip and go out and kill your brothers. That's what it says. Vaya'asu b'nei Levi kitvad Moshe. And the tribe of Levi went out and killed the people. And as a result, Vayipol fell min ha'am, from the nation, Bayomahu, that day, about 3,000 people. That's what it says. The same language that every newspaper in America said how many people died about. Now, if you read through the Bible and we're taking the census in the book of Numbers, it never says about. Never. This is the only place where it says about. Exactly the language used 2,000 years later. About 3,000 people. Okay, here's another look at that. Matos is a jet. Hipil knocked down the towers that are twins. How many times? Twice. Pa'amayim, 2 times. And as a result, thousands of people died there. And people ask, where is this? What happened after the bombing of the World Trade Center? What was the reaction of America? Anger, and besides the anger that we had outside, what was the behavior of the people?
Fear.
Excuse me?
Fear.
No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody was worried. I don't think so.
Revenge?
We didn't. We never took revenge.
No.
Everybody went out and started helping everybody.
Oh, that's right.
Right? One helping society after another. Everybody.
Yes, we came together.
Everybody came together and
That's
said,
right.
what can I do?
That's right.
God said, listen, before this time,
Sure.
nobody cared about anybody. And God says, I am the God of kindness. And if you're not going to bring the words and the traits of God into this world, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to make you show kindness. And it says over here, because you people didn't believe in me enough to honor me and make me holy, I'm going to remind you what I'm about.
Right.
I'm about kindness. And that's what happened. After the World Trade Center, everybody was kind to another. Anybody want to go swimming? You want to go swimming? No?
Maybe
Not
next
happening.
month.
Not and that. Not at this particular beach. I don't think you want to be there. No. Again, this is a video. It's not showing on the screen. Yeah. Okay, some of you might remember. Also,
Vietnam.
no, not Vietnam.
No.
Tsunami.
It's
Tsunami.
It's-
Yeah,
right.
that's-
Tsunami, right?
Right.
There's many,
Wait,
yeah.
Rabbi, before you get to that, but wasn't one of the reasons that World Trade Center was destroyed and 9/11 happened is because we were godless, like we were a godless society.
Right, right.
And they were, for all their problems, they are a God-fearing society, in a manner of speaking.
In a manner of speaking.
But that's-
Why New
that's-
York? They could have
that's our
happened
history.
anywhere.
No, it's because we were, this is the reason they did it, right? They supposedly did it because we're a godless.
Oh! That's why Ishmael did it. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not concerned about their.
I don't know, just a.
But you can say that about our history.
What's that?
The history about tragic events that befell us. and it
Because we're
couldn't-
not observant.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that's not an exception. It's
No.
a large
Right.
tragedy.
Right.
But it's just another.
Just another
Right.
tragic event.
Right.
Okay, it happened the day after their holiday in Asia. Thousands of people drowned in a tsunami. All COVID. We took all this information and we went to an organization called the Institute of Mathematical Statistics in Hayward, California. They are the most prestigious organization in America that does statistical testing. We showed it to them and we said, look at all this information. Look at what's here. Look at what's there. We want you to tell the world that this is real, that these things are not a joke, that statistically it's impossible for this to be an accident. And this is the article. ELSs in the book of Genesis, done by these 3 Bible researchers. It was done in August 1994. You can actually Google this and read the entire article. It's very, very technical. Let me show you the comments of the editor. He says, our referees were baffled. These are not, the guys with the black and white shirts with the whistles. These are world-class mathematicians. Their prior beliefs made them think the book of Genesis could not possibly contain meaningful references to modern-day individuals. Yet when the authors carried out additional analysis of the checks, the effect persisted. They could not disprove the information that we gave them to show, no, this is an accident. The paper is offered to statistical science readers as a challenging puzzle. Oh, look at that. Maybe one day we'll figure it out. No. They did anything that they possibly could to show this is not true. It's only an accident. Nobody who wrote the Bible was predicting the future with statistically significant letters. Opposite is true. This was our experiment. We said, as the Rambam, the Vilna Gaon said, everybody was there. So we said, what we'll do is we will show you the names of our greatest rabbis, and they're all there. They said, okay, that could be an experiment. So they said, wait a second. There's something called hidden failures. You're going to look for, I don't know, Schneerson, just picking a name. And you wouldn't find him. So since he's not there, you won't show it to us. You'll only show us the ones that you found. So we said, everybody's there. We're sure they're there. But so how do we go about finding those rabbis that you want us to show? So they said, get a book that lists all the rabbis, and we'll apply some criteria. So we showed them the encyclopedia of the great men of Israel who lived from the 9th to the 18th century. Showed it to them. They said, okay. So what criteria do we use to show that they're a great rabbi? They said anybody has more than 3 columns written about him is a great rabbi. A goyim, what do they know? Okay. So we said, okay, fine. We'll find you all of these 34 rabbis. They said, okay, but that's not an experiment. You'll find that anywhere. So we said, okay, they're all great authors. We'll show you the name of their books, like the Mishnah Torah. And they said, no. Once again, if they wrote 10 books and you find 8 of them, there's hidden failures. So we said, well, what do we do? Because you guys will only show us your success, not your failures. So there's something that all those rabbis had in common over which we have no control. They're all dead. They all have a Yortzeit date.
Yeah, well, if they were from the 9th to the 18th century,
Right.
it's
They're
obviously
obviously dead. So what we said we'll do is we will look at these 34 rabbis that you chose, and we'll give you their Yortzeit date. Not everybody had a birth date there because the 9th century may not have been recorded. So we went through the list, and we came up. There's 34 rabbis, and if you know some of them, like Yosef Karo is there, the Bach, the Sema, the Shach, Rashi, Maharsha, Mahalshal, they're all there. And we plugged in the Hebrew names, how they were known, and the dates of death. We did that experiment. We didn't do the experiment once. We did every single name 3 million times. First, we used our exact Bible, the way it is. Then they said, maybe there's something special about the Hebrew language and why they named the rabbis these things. So maybe in the original, or any time you look at Hebrew, it's going to look the same. So they said, take all the sentences, mix them up, and do it again 1 million times. Take all the words within the sentence, mix them up, and do it 1 million times. Take all the letters, mix them up, and do it 1 million times. And we did that. Let me show you just one example. There's a Hama Hasharo. There's his name, the acronym that he's known by. He died on the 12th day of the month of Kislev. His name is Shlomo, and he died in the year Hey Shin Lamed Dalet 5334. Rabbi after rabbi after rabbi. So, have any of you ever done statistical testing, like an experiment to do? Maybe in college you had to do testing, and you repeat the same experiment over and over. What's the golden rule, standard for statistical significance?
05.
05, yeah, right. You have to do an experiment 20 times, and if you get the same result, 19 out of 20, general scientific standard is it's good. 95% accurate is good enough. Matters of life and death, 1 in 100. And the question of who wrote this Bible, the people of statistical science required that we have a level of significance of 1 in 1,000. We did all their experiments. We didn't want to disappoint them. When it was all done, 1 in 62,500, 62 times better than life and death. Now, we did the same testing on the Samaritan Bible. We did the same testing on the book of Isaiah. All the other writings, and the only place that we found statistical significance of this level was in the original text of the Bible that we have. They didn't like our list. They said, no, this is 2.75 columns, this is 3.25 columns, this is no good. Don't do this rabbi, do another rabbi. So we did it again. And we did the second list. And as you can see here, we did this this experiment 100 million times. These are all the different experiments that we did. The 63 names of the Talmud, 22 out of 100 million. Same thing down here. Where is it? The 70 tribes, 70 nations.
Many times, I don't understand how you do the same test.
Because you just mix up the letters a million times. Mix them up, and do the same test.
And you mix up the
What do you
letters
mean mix
and
up the
names
letters?
of
You
the
mix up the
rabbis
letters of the Torah?
Yes.
on the Torah?
Yes.
But then you don't get the.
But then it's not the Torah, I don't
But then you don't
understand.
get the jobs.
So what they're
Oh, to show you that it never
It's-
works if you move the letters around?
correct, right? Their
You're saying
thoughts
it's
were
because of all the letters, there's so many letters that you see.
right. Now, in truth, you can find words encoded on a cereal box. You can. You look at the ingredients and you can say, "Oh, look at that! There's my name. It skipped 22 letters, 22 lines, 22 letters," and it prints out. Now, the question is that an accident, or was it done intentionally by Kellogg's? That's the question you have to ask. Over here, if they did all of these experiments 100 million times, and the only time you get statistical significance is in the original text of our Bible, that has to mean it was done intentionally. So the only question that I leave you with, sorry, that's a number, 1.7 million. The only question that you have to answer is this random? Totally meaningless? Or was it done by design? Who did it? Thank you very much.
Oh, boy.
Was this picked up by any newspapers or popular,